Okay, I know the political situation is really funny, really strange, but what we can do is a little magic. We can open a nice big portal, and David Bowie will help us today. And if you open a portal, it changes the rules. It changes the rules dramatically because, well, their rules, they don't really work. As in this song, really. So let's have a look at the lyrics. We have the lyrics.
Yeah, so Space Oddity by Bowie, and I've listened to it several times, and actually, So lyrics, okay.
Okay, so ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. You can do the countdown. You can say 10.
10. Ah, okay.
Ground control
10, 9.
to Major Tom.
8. Okay.
7.
7.
You count down. You should do countdown. 6.
Yeah, then I have to find this. Beg your pardon. So because here it's just different, no countdown, but in my version, so it's different.
Okay, you have a different version, but I'm reading like the classic version. 6. Commencing countdown. You just count down. 6, 5.
6.
You say 5.
5.
Engines on.
4. 3. 2.
Check ignition.
1.
And may God's love be with you. Lift off.
Lift off.
And then we have a very nice instrumental, and we have instrumental at the beginning. And that's important. In this case, it's not just the words. The music is very important here. Very important. It's a part of the picture. So then we have a bit more instrumental. This is ground control to Major Tom. You really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way. And the stars look very different today. But here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the world. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. Then we have a little more instrumental. Although I'm past 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very still, and I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Tell my wife I love her very much. She knows. Ground control to Major Tom. Your circuit's dead, there's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom, yeah? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear? Am I floating around my tin can, far above the moon? Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do.
Yep.
What's your initial impressions of the song, the lyrics, the story?
The story is there is kind of a character whose name is Major Tom, and he's going to space. So it's time for liftoff here and for leaving the ground and coming to space. And actually we know all that stuff just when we say space, right? So on the one hand it's quite attractive, at the same time it can scare you to death because you never know what can happen there. And of course of the space exploration. And so actually this is, so they are looking, there's someone just is controlling him and just like going like next to, with him but from the earth. And actually, so they don't know exactly so how it was, so was it successful or not, if I'm not mistaken. And then if I'm not mistaken, the last chorus, the last part is like his words, so we know what he's describing, what he's experiencing.
Yeah, so I really love this song. I think it's amazing. It's very big, very deep. The music is fantastic, and it's really a story. It's not like a little lyrical sketch like in other songs where we have just a snapshot of situation or some feelings. We actually have a story with the beginning, the middle, and the end. And what makes a story as opposite to a lyrical sketch is the character changes or the reader changes. And it's amazing because it's a very short story. As a story, it's very short, but at the same time, it brings you a big picture. It develops a character. It makes you feel things and think of things. Yeah. So I really like it. And what else I really like about it, that depending on you, the reader, it can be either very sad and tragical or very happy and optimistic. Two absolutely different readings, and it can be either, depending on you, both. So we have this descriptive music. Yeah. We start with instrumental intro, and it's like a radio signal coming from a distance and getting clearer. I love it. So it's very good to listen to that song wearing headphones because you can hear two voices. So most of the text is sung, read in two voices. So maybe again it's like a radio echo. Only a little important bits said by Major Tom are in single voice. Most of it like in two voices. Very interesting. Very good. So let's start. Let's get started. So we start with these space sounds, and the song is called the Space Oddity, something a strange event in space. So we can guess what is coming. And we have this setting quite particular: ground control to Major Tom. These words, and you already know, okay, we're going to talk about some kind of spacewalk, rocket, cosmonaut. Yeah. And the first words are ground control to Major Tom. So that's two characters, ground control and Major Tom. What can you tell me about them? Just by names. We just have names, ground control and Major Tom. So we'll start with ground control. What does it tell you?
So if there is just, may I ask you just before, but is there kind of a direct meaning, or is it just a person who, I don't know, who watches him and he's just...
Yeah, it's the base on Earth who's kind of guiding the pilot.
But, yeah, so that's just... Yeah, it's clear. So this is kind of a, I don't know. And what I can tell you about ground control and Major Tom, like only based on the first two lines.
Yeah, just names.
Okay, names. Just I would say that ground control, it sounds too heavy. You know.
Yes,
too heavy, like you know, like this huge pressure on you and on someone. Ground control, and when you hear that ground control, so that someone is watching us like 24 hours.
Yeah, we have the keyword is control.
Yeah, the keyword is controlling. And you know, stay grounded, we know this also combination, like when you are punished.
Yeah, so and ground, like not elevated, not spiritual, but ground control. Yeah, keeps you to the ground, which may be a good thing, depending.
Yeah. So, and ground and control. And just Major Tom. On the one hand, Major, we know that it's like to be the boss, like to be the leader on the one hand, right? And to be quite important, Major.
Major, like big.
At the same time, it is like his, how to say it, military...
Military rank, yeah, it's the lowest. It's the lowest, like, middle grade rank. So we have the lowest grade, which is like soldiers. We have the middle rank, and we have the highest rank. So Major is the lowest of the field grade rank.
Yeah, and the storm is like quite short, quite simple, like, you know, someone ordinary, quite ordinary. He's Major Tom, so maybe he's quite young, we can say.
We don't know, but Tom, what about his name, Tom?
Tom? I don't know.
As opposed to Fitzgerald, for instance.
Fitzgerald, like, the right, I only know just 10 there is a night and that's it. Okay. Tom? I don't know, actually.
Is it a posh name or is it a simple name?
I thought that just his name is quite ordinary, like an ordinary person.
Yeah,
just
he's not even a Thomas, he's just Tom.
Yeah.
Like a very ordinary, very simple. So, and again, as we say, major, on one hand, as we will see in the song, on one hand, in the we have two frames of reference here, and one frame of reference is ground control reference, in which major is like a dog, a replaceable puppet. He's not a person to them. He's just someone with a spare. Yeah. If he explodes, then nobody's gonna cry.
Yeah, because he's like one of hundreds.
Yeah, one of hundreds. At the same time, a major like big. We talk about space, and we have Ursa Major, yeah, the constellation. So he's small, but he is big. But he's small, but he is big. And he has a name, even though he belongs to this frame because he's major. So he's a part of it. But he has a name, Tom. But ground control doesn't have a name, doesn't have a face. It's like a corporation. It's a big brother thingy.
Yeah.
So already we have this introduction, two sides of the conflict, let's say. We don't know it's going to be a conflict, but it will be a conflict because it's a very short space. So ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Any comments here?
Yeah, sorry. No, the helmet is like to protect you, and that's actually like, this is kind of a basic rule for everyone. Either you are a driver or you are like maybe riding your bike, so with a helmet can protect you. But we know that, okay, it doesn't mean anything again. So it's like, it must be. Yeah, but I'm for wearing helmets if needed. But still, so the level of protection, it's, so, you know, just... Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's good protection, but it's ridiculous protection. You're right.
In this case.
In this case, yeah. If your rocket is exploding, then a helmet will not help you.
Nothing, yes. And take your protein pills, okay. It's again about just something about health and just, you know, like the sign of care, of being caring about Tom, but actually it's also like, you know, it must be, so if we talk about this like from the perspective of the ground control, so they have to say it, they're following the rules, they follow the rules, so it doesn't give no one or anyone any guarantee, right? So it must be done, so maybe it's a plus for them, so done, checked, done.
Okay, right. And I guess another little thing here about helmet. If you put a helmet on, it's like it's the alienation or separation. Yeah, your head is in that helmet. It's the first step because if you're sent into space, you're going to be very, very separated from the rest of the world, and that's like the beginning. The first thing you do, you put it around your head. Maybe also if we talk about different paradigms and the paradigms in your head, you have to change something. Maybe. Okay, then we have this countdown. Can you tell me here?
No, actually.
Why do we need a countdown?
Countdown, yes. So actually just is for to be reading, and actually they, you know, when someone is, when I mean that they're coming down, even if we talk about, I don't know, the new year coming down, or like coming down when it's, I don't know, when someone has to start, it helps you to focus on the action, and like, it helps you to stay and to be grounded, I would say, to this particular moment.
Yes,
and,
so it kind of builds attention.
Yeah, builds attention, and I would say that usually we feel, some people can feel excited, some people just can feel nervous. I am nervous when I hear
suppose you're this and again, if you listen to the countdown and ground control to major tom, commencing countdown, engines on, check ignition, then you as the listener, you are with major tom. Maybe it helps you feel to be there, what it's like to be in his seat, in the seat on a rocket that's about to lift off. And the countdown in itself, again, in this context, because it's like automatic, it's indifferent, it's like your fate or destiny. Whatever you do, whatever you say, there's a little countdown. You can do nothing about it. You can be calm, or you can worry, you can be excited, you can be frightened. It doesn't matter. The countdown still counts down. 10 to 1 to lift off. And it reminds me of that Russian cartoon about the blue meteorite. You know it?
No,
It's the creepiest little cartoon. I absolutely love and hate it since childhood. It's a short cartoon, and the idea is, okay, there you are. You're doing your little things, you grow up, you play with your friends, you go to school, and all that while, somewhere out in space, there's a blue meteorite coming closer and closer.
I know it, of course.
I absolutely hate it, because the blue meteorite is obviously your death. So whatever you do, doesn't matter, your death is going to meet you at some point.
Yeah, I remember it quite real. And somewhere there, где-то там летит метеорит.
I hate this cartoon. It's not for children, really. But I love it, because it has this message, but I hate it. So it's kind of something like that in here. So whatever you do, there's some quiet countdown to your fate, whatever it is. Well, death, maybe. As for the words, I guess the interesting words are in the end. Check ignition may be good, because you need some kind of spark inside you, to lift off, to become a different person, to start a big journey. So you need your ignition. And ignition is a good word. I like it. And then, may God's love be with you. That's good. That's interesting. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's just and God's love be with you. So it's again, just to me, it sounds really like that you can't, escape your destiny, and whatever can happen. So if you die, if you're alive, so there's lots to be with you. Like, it can sound like the last words just said by a priester just next to the bed of a dying person. So there's lots to be with you.
Yeah, and so
if we talk about ground control, it again might sound like like a cliche. So it must be said that they were human. They wish you just all the best. And so God will protect you. So even if it maybe there is like something, and the spaceship is going just to burst or to crash, something else. So, but okay, so it's not our fault. God be with you. Maybe just like irrational power will help you.
Yeah. So it's interesting, because on one hand, maybe they don't mean it, but they say it, and if you say it, you have it. So we have God and love in this reality. Maybe it's superficial for ground control, but of course it's essential for Major Tom, because on one hand we have this kind of serious science, rocket science as they say, yeah? But still they need a luck as big as God's love.
Yeah.
It's like, are they very sure of the science? Can anyone be sure of their science? How big is science? How reliable can it be? What do we know?
We don't. I think it's like, on the one hand, just we pretend that it's like 99.9% everything.
Yeah, pretend is a key point.
Yeah, pretending. But who knows? Like, there is always a chance just for a tiny,
It's always
meaningless mistake.
So here we can see that a human effort is minuscule. It's really tiny. That's again where we have this big subject of space versus man versus corporation, different realities colliding. And here we have like, okay, human mind is cool, it's great, it can send you into space, but it's nothing. So I heard a story about one of the Russian cosmonauts, Leontiev maybe, and he was asked what was so great about Gagarin's thing, and he said, okay, imagine you sit on top of a very tall building, maybe 20 stories about, and it's full of fuel, very flammable, very explosive, and you sit on top of it, and your fellow scientists are shouting, "It's okay! We are sure you'll take off and get back finally." That's what was so great about Gagarin.
Yeah, and by the way, this summer we went to Gzhatsk. Now it's just Gagarin, but just the initial and the original name of the city is Gzhatsk. And so there are actually 3 museums of Gagarin, and the 4th one is about dedicated to his first flight. And so one house is like, the first house, then just like when he was a child and when his family came to the city, to the town, let's say. Then it's just the second one when it was like his parents and he was given a 3-room flat. By the government, and the third one, so when the newest building was built for Gagarin, just actually for his mom and for the cosmonauts, when they all of them just came to her regularly, to talk to her about the son and so on. And you know what? I really want to go there back again, because just when you're in the last house, you feel actually the atmosphere and just all the pictures, and to tell you the truth, it was the first time when we were approaching the city. So along the way, along the highway, there are lots of billboards with the pictures of Gagarin.
Yeah, would be.
And I don't know why. Maybe because I had never thought about it before, and it was like beyond my sphere of interest. But anyway, so it was a moment when I really looked directly into his face. I mean, my granny told me a lot of him. I remember his stories about his fascinating smile and so on. But it was like, stories to the child, I would say. And that time I was really just like caught and looked into his face, and oh my gosh, I don't know why, maybe because again because of the current moment, I realized that, hey, I'm now younger than he was. Or no, I'm older than he was, like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, he was just right in the beginning of his life. And then, just like step by step, like when we were like moving from one room or hall into another one, and I was reading how many things he was able to do and to complete without a couple of years.
Really?
And just you look at his face, just like, but you look just trying to, maybe to get this, just to feel him like a person.
I know. Yeah, it's amazing.
And oh my gosh, yes, it's like really you are just, I don't know. I couldn't stop crying. So when we after the second part of all the just excursion and the discussions and all what I've just saw, I really want to go there back again. And I would say that, okay, so he is really great.
Yeah, he is, of course.
He is really unique, and I would say there is only like such a person for maybe 100 years, maybe 200 years, or who knows, like in a century, because he's really just peculiar, and to be really talked about and learned about, and just the place is great to my mind.
Yeah, that's good. Now back to Bowie. So we have Major Tom, and again it's a military, and we don't even think about it, but of course space is a kind of military thing. And then we have a military person called Tom, and we have this stereotype of him being a silly person.
Could be, yeah.
Could be. because he does what he's told. He's not very high in the rank. He's just a simple person and military. So we have a stereotype, which kicks in, I guess. So he, whoever he is sent to a completely different reality. And even this ground control, they kind of control, but they only control on the ground. So they say, may God's love be with you, because they're not really in control out there. So, and when Bowie says lift off, he says it very softly, because this transition is soft. It has to be kind of gentle. It can be forceful, but still it's gentle somehow. Okay, so then we have a little instrumental, which is like his rocket going into space. Beautiful. And then the next verse, we know he's made it. His rocket did not explode, because many rockets just explode before they can start off. And this is ground control to Major Tom. You really made the grade. So now, made the grade is like, it's not bad, it's satisfactory. He does it, they stay back there, they do their job, but they don't actually go into space. And so they say, okay, well, not bad, it's okay. So on one hand, they're happy, but they're not happy, they want more from him, but it's him who's out there. So we have, on one hand, man versus space, and space, I've said it before somewhere, and I'll say it again. I guess space as outer space is a new romanticism, because before that you had ocean or mountain, where the man is alone and facing something much, much bigger than himself. So it's about, on one hand, loneliness, on another hand, finding yourself. So it's a sacred space. And of course, outer space is much bigger and much lonelier than any ocean on Earth. So on one hand, we have this man versus space subject, or unknown, the great unknown. On the other hand, we have a man versus a corporation subject. Because when it's a man versus space, as in romanticism, then a man is small but very important. Small in size, but really, really important in importance. But when we talk about a man versus corporation, then a man not only small in size, but it's only, also insignificant. To the corporation, he's nothing. To space, he is everything. He is equal when he is out in space. He's equal to other forces. Has his chance. So the papers want to know whose shirts you wear.
It's actually again about control, because so everyone, maybe, and the papers, because the papers want to know everything and every detail, and how it's going, just how you live there, what you eat, how you sleep, how you go to the toilet, everything. And just for the papers, it's like, so if we just talk about the papers, like not again, just there are some quality papers and like the real journalism, when they really,
not here, in this case.
Let's say that it still exists, okay? So, but at the same time, so papers, it's about like making a fuss out of, even out of a very important thing. To make it like quite ordinary, maybe to less it, and just, they're trying to make like maybe a star, out of, this major Tom.
So is it very serious? So imagine you are someone who's just survived going into space. You're in orbit somewhere, and ground control says, "Okay, you're famous. The papers want to know about you." But what do they want to know? Is he a person to them? He's not a person. They don't care about his feelings, his thoughts, ideas, sensations. They're interested in something very superficial.
Yeah. And meaningless. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. So on one hand, it's kind of fame, but it's ground fame. Yeah, it's not. My laptop is a bit crazy. Yeah, it's.
I mean, it's clear.
Mm-hmm. So who cares whose shirts you wear? At the same time, it's a kind of silly, and maybe it adds to the image of a silly person. And maybe we as listeners kind of play along. We think, this Major Tom, he's a bit silly, he's funny. Yeah, he's a little nothing. Maybe. Now it's time to leave the capsule, if you dare. If you dare.
Yeah.
But it's more like an order, really.
It is, because I think that he knew from the beginning that if he's just already into orbit, right, so he has, and everything is fine, but again, you never know what can happen. So that
yeah, because technically it's super risky at the time.
And if he's okay with it, so he is ready, like physically, mentally, emotionally, so why not to leave? And if you dare, so yeah, like.
But we have this element of his will still. So if you dare, because if he doesn't do it, what can they do? Nothing. He decides in some small or big way. He decides it, and we have this again map. We have the ground control, which is your safe ground. You leave it. Then you're in your capsule. And a capsule is a part of ground. Yeah, it's made by humans. It's safe, relatively, but it's still your safe space there. And then you have this big unknown, space itself. Yeah, so while he is in this capsule, he is still in some way under control of ground control. So it's time for him to decide, is he ready, will he dare to leave this last remains of a relatively safe space, so the last connection to the ground. Yeah,
and
so it's tiny, it's tiny.
Keeps in mind, like, God's love be with you. Yeah, God's love be with me, so if I dare, so what happened?
So what happens? This is Major Tom to ground control. For the first time we hear him.
Yeah.
So he answers. He exists. He has a voice. Finally, he's got a voice. And he gets his voice after he makes this effort. He shows his will. Then he gets a voice, not before. He leaves this capsule. And now he is independent. He becomes a person. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, so we can see it as it happens.
Yeah, like capturing moments. Here it's like really about like painting that just looking at the picture and what's going on, picture in motion. Yeah.
And this so-called silly Major Tom performs this unbelievable act of great courage, while the great ground control just sits back on Earth, really. And of course we say stepping through the door is a very important image, which we can feel in many ways. Just a simple door as he walks out, and stepping through the door like to another reality, another mindset, facing it. And then, of course, I'm floating in the most peculiar way. Because, again, on one hand we may say, ah, ha, 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 he's funny, he's upside down, he looks ridiculous. But at the same time, floating in the most peculiar way. Of course, if you leave your one paradigm, you step into another paradigm, then from the old reality, you will look ridiculous because it's different. Yeah? And peculiar is a good word, strange, shamanic. So now he is different. He does it. Nobody can do it for you. You decide if you're ready to do it, if you can risk it, if you're ready. But just as we listen to it, and we have this image, and it's like, okay, how about you leave your safe capsule and do something very risky? Okay, if you say so, sir. I'm floating in the most peculiar way. That's funny. Maybe he looks funny, maybe to us, because we are still on the ground.
On the ground, yeah, just safe and sound, we can say. And he's not.
Yeah, so he has this really amazing experience. You may laugh or you may watch, but you will not have it. You can only have it, you can't just watch it. So the stars look very different today. Why? What a strange remark for a military-minded person.
It's just very romantic again. It's like a thing that he's, like really part of a big something like space, and just it's about being an observer. So he's actually aware of his feelings. So he can maybe just trace what is happening inside his consciousness, and then just his the way of his relations just to the world, and maybe it's just his relation to the space, right? It just has been changing, or has already just changed. So maybe the stars were the stars are were up above just your head with all that stuff that we know about them. But now, so they are really different because he's in a different point, a different place.
So first of all, he can feel it differently. Because it's one thing if you look at, say, a picture of a mountain, and another thing if you're actually out in the mountain.
Yeah, and on the top of it, right, on the peak. It's different.
And maybe it's not the stars that are different. Maybe he is now different. The stars look different today. I heard another version that maybe Bowie meant stars like celebrities, because also it's a song about the loneliness of an artist who is like separated from the crowd. But instead of artist, of course, you can just say shaman in a way. So maybe he was talking about himself, like if you read about celebrities and you watch them on TV. Maybe they feel different, and when you're actually one of them, you're among them, you can see them from another perspective, maybe. That doesn't really matter, because we don't really think about celebrities when we read it. Or maybe we do. Whose shirts you wear. Okay. Yeah, so today, it's like there's a little pause, and then today. Like this little realization that, I was different before, I'm different now. So something changed today, now. Interesting. And he says, "For here am I sitting in a tin can," which is a bit strange because then he's floating again, but suppose maybe he returned and then he went out again. Suppose he returned to his tin can. So sitting in a tin can. What's a tin can?
Here. In a tin can. Yeah, it's just like spaceship, if I'm not mistaken, right? And just when we say the spaceship, it sounds
a space capsule.
Like very space. Okay, space.
Because it was a rocket. It wasn't a ship. It was a rocket. And as you know, when the rocket is launched, it's big because it has lots of fuel to lift it. Really in the end, it's just a little bit that's left of it.
But still, the word tin can, so it makes you think of something just which is also quite very ordinary. Like in the kitchen, you can take a tin of sardines, open it and then you tin can.
So when do we use the word tin can?
Because just when we say rocket, and just we know how just when it's launched and just how big it is, how difficult it is construction, it sounds like really solid and then it's connected
Yeah,
with
because
ground.
ground control says capsule. They use this clever word, capsule.
Slow word.
But
Yeah,
he,
and
from
then
there,
where
he
I
knows what it
see
is. It's a tin can.
Yeah, it's a tin can, and it is just, it's, so it makes maybe that a little bit, on the one hand, it could be like something ordinary. Yeah, for him it's okay, maybe it's his job, he actually, he knew what he was doing, because it just, without like training, he could be like,
So,
inside this capsule.
yeah.
But it's actually, for Here I Am, and we see even this, for Here I Am, yeah, like an inversion or something. I'm sitting in a tin can, so, yeah, if something goes wrong, so nothing just can help me.
Yeah,
And
so
there's
a
nothing
tin
but-
can, like something very small, and tin can is where we keep food, preserves, yeah, for a long time. And there have been incidents when the pilot dies and he is forever remains forever in this tin can, which is like a coffin. What's the smallest house in the world? It's a coffin.
Often, yeah.
So it can be his coffin. Maybe he feels very small because tin can is small, and he feels like a bit of like I don't know, food. What do we keep in tin cans? Who knows? And then
And
tin
then
and
he
tiny,
thinks-
I guess, is related.
Tina.
Tin and tiny. I mean, poetically. So,
Yeah, and we know that if there is now, just there is so much junk, just spaceships, space waste, yeah, so how to call
yeah,
it. We also become like a space trash.
yeah.
Space waste.
Maybe he feels like
Sometimes
that.
it's
Yeah.
plastic. And in this case, of course, it's like a tin can.
Yeah, so, and I guess this tin can is a tiny, knowable bit of reality. This tiny little bit which we can kind of know. And he is out there, and all around him is a big, big unknowable space. So it's like a man versus infinity. Yeah, this infinite mystery of the universe, that what we cannot know, but what we can experience. We can't know it with our mind, because it's bigger than our frames, but we can experience it. So far above the world, which again may be literal, may be shamanic, yeah, world as the planet, or world as society, maybe. And planet Earth is blue, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, this, for me, it's echoing like God's love be with you. So he knows that just very little, maybe things depend on him. So that's why he's doing what he must do. And what he is ready for, actually. So he maybe also just have tried, and he realized what he can do. It's like, when you're opening up your potential, and really the stars start looking very different for you today. And and the world is still blue, so the Earth lives its own life. So it's like being a part of it, but still so different. Like being a part of the planet, but still has its own life.
Yeah.
Or just on the one hand it's system, on the other hand it's like also quite chaotic and like far apart from.
So blue can be like blue in color, which is like it's alive, or blue is also like maybe sad. Like I look at other planet. It's there's a lot of sadness there, but there's nothing I can do, and nothing I can do about what? About the Earth being of blue color. Maybe I want it to be purple or something. But I can't change it. It is as it is. The Earth is a sad place. I want to make it happier, but I can't. Or maybe it's about his position. Nothing I can do. I can't return. It's just God's love that guides me. But I can do nothing. Maybe it's another paradigm, because if you're in another paradigm, you can't really do anything, because all you're doing comes from your old paradigm. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and what is blue is like the color of sadness and sorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have a little more instrumental. It's like time passes. He has time to, I don't know, adjust, think about his situation maybe. And then, though I'm past 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very still. So we just have this big, big space and stillness on one hand, physical stillness, because relatively he feels very motionless, although in fact, of course, he is moving very fast. Like when you're on a train, you're moving very fast with the train, but to you it's motionless, you're just sitting there. Yeah? The same for him.
Yeah.
At the same time, still is of course like calm, quiet, relaxed. Maybe because now he's wise and shamanic. So he knows there's nothing to worry about, because he can do nothing. If you know you can't do anything, then you don't worry. Yeah, you don't worry because there's nothing you can do. So you can as well sit back and relax and enjoy your adventure. Because if you think you can do something, you will try to do it, and maybe you succeed, maybe you fail, you get upset or something. But if you know you can't do anything, you don't have to try. He trusts God's love. He trusts this power to guide him. As we can see in the next slide, I think my spaceship knows which way to go. He thinks.
He thinks, but you mean that he doesn't know it for sure?
Yeah, so is he well prepared, technically? Suppose you're Major Tom, you're sent into space and you don't even know how your spaceship works.
Well, actually, if I were him, just I had to know about it.
So maybe ground control never intended to get him back, because it's kind of complicated. Maybe they just wanted to send him out there to say, oh, we sent a man out into space. We will not tell you that we never got him back. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so we'll wait and we'll see what will happen. I'm feeling very still. But maybe just what if, like, so sometimes just to be able to think rationally, you really need just to come down. And what if, for example, he have completed, let's say, just the listed missions, like to get into space, to open the door of the capsule, like to try to walk and to float, and he checked his, space costume, and I don't know what else he had just to complete. And then, so actually, he's done with his, responsibilities, let's say.
With his task.
And at the same time, just he's still alive. And he knows that, okay, just by now, everything has been working properly. I've done what I had to do. And actually, so maybe it's time to think about himself. And actually, he might feeling just very still, because just there is always a limit of, when... Sometimes when you can't stay nervous anymore, so okay, so I feel I feel just gut support, and so here I am, really, here I am, and just this is my capsule, there is me, I'm in space, that's all.
Or maybe I just have this idea, still, when do you feel still physically, from physics? When you have equal forces from all sides. So maybe he's in this new paradigm and he doesn't yet have any points of attraction. So nothing moves him, or everything moves him equally. Because when you are on Earth, on the ground in your normal reality. You have different points of attraction, which is different for different people. Maybe it's health or money or family or your job or something else, your cat. It doesn't matter. You have these points of attraction, and that makes you move accordingly. Yeah. You make your decisions. I will go and have a walk because it's good for my health, for instance. Or I will go and get some cat food because I need to feed my cat. Whatever. But when he is out there are no points of attraction yet for him, or repelling. So he is very still because he's in a completely new reality. With no connections yet.
Yeah, usually just something new terrifies. I don't know, maybe. So, not but still it's quite shocking and nervous because just...
Yeah, of course it's shocking, of course it's terrifying, and I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Like, you're completely lost. Yeah, but it's a part of it.
We don't want this to be left. Yeah, so no way. And that's why he's really hoping, because just, it's like, when we share our responsibilities and just, there are things to be shared with someone, even, responsibility here is a good word to my mind. So that's why, so maybe they know to go and I don't have to worry about it. On the one hand, I have to, but there is nothing I can do. So like all the technical stuff maybe is really beyond his interest and his
so maybe he was really relying on ground control to get him back, thinking they can do it for him, and now he realizes they don't care.
Yeah, maybe so he's on his way back, but still he doesn't know about it.
Okay.
Because just I'm feeling very still, and he has completed just all his missions and tasks. So now he can relax from this perspective. And so he knows that after all the stuff, it's time to go back home. And just which ways to go back home to be...
Oh, which way is it? There's no, no direction in space. Tell my wife I love her very much. She knows?
Yeah,
so that, I guess, is a turning point.
Turning point.
Why is it a turning point?
Okay, that turning point, and when we say tell her I love her, so there is something terrible is going to happen or is happening. And
what's more important? Yeah, he understands he's not going to come back. And his transmission is cut off mid-sentence. She knows what. We don't know. He could just say, tell my wife I love her. So what's important is now we can see him as a human being, with a wife, with feelings, and we have the word love again. So before he was just like a typical military soldier who does what he's told, who's not very bright, who's replaceable and things. And now we can see he's a person. A wife is big. It's not just a cat. Bless you. So now he's not funny, but tragical. His moving force is love. What's ground control's moving force? I don't know, maybe greed, maybe fame, something. Who knows? And now he is going to never return to this old reality. Maybe it's he's like a monk now, gets a new life. And of course, if you get a new life, you become a new person. You can't have a wife, or you can't have your old wife, because it's a big part of who you are. And now you're not this person anymore, and he can't come back. But before his final transition, he says, the man I was, tell my wife I really love her. And if I leave her on my shamanic magical journey, it's not because I don't love her, but it's because it's time for me to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have this word knows twice. My spaceship knows, and she knows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do we know? Who knows? Anything to add here?
Like, they are real. His wife is spaceships just are real because it's about, like, if they know, so they know what to do further. And it's like, it might sound like he's saying just goodbye, kind of.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Okay.
Okay, then as his message is cut, he's transferring completely into another reality, so there's no connection anymore, because he is now fully in this new reality. So ground control to Major Tom, your circuit's dead. There's something wrong. Oh, we got a problem, Houston. Of course, now we have the word dead. Your circuit's dead, so are you. You are dead. And technically, maybe he can hear them. We don't know. But they don't hear him. He doesn't answer. And when they say there's something wrong, again, that's why I like this song. It can be very optimistic or very, very sad. So something wrong. On one hand, if you read it from the ground control's point of view, it's tragical. He's going to die very soon. He's not coming back. It's over for him. He's a goner. But if you read it from a major perspective, bigger perspective, major perspective, then wrong from their point of view. Because the old paradigm will always see any other paradigm as wrong. But he isn't here, he's there. So for him, it may not be wrong. So perhaps if you dared to step through the door, not all people want to return. Some shamanic people, they do step through the door. And really the idea is to get back. After you get there, then you get back with your new experience. But some people kind of like it out in this strange, hostile reality.
Just the shamanic door, it sounds like a force that you are getting. It's just like I don't know, flashing crossed my mind that it sounds like the elements of the Wonderland. So when you step in, it's just like they do to another reality. And then so you're starting like falling down deep into the darkness, actually. Unaware darkness and unknown darkness.
And of course, darkness is just something you don't know, nothing more. Darkness is something you can't see because you're not used to it, you don't understand it. Yeah, we're just about to finish. We just have a little bit left. So either we read it as it's very tragic, he is dead, and he's just nothing, another toy lost to the military games. Or we can read it as it's something victorious, it's big, it's happy. He became a real person, he found his personality, he's a shaman, he's independent, he's on his own happy journey.
Actually, it could be, but when you have reached the another level of understanding and consciousness and so on, and now the stars, are looking differently for you. I don't think that this is the right moment to die.
No, you may be dead to the old paradigm. If you move to another paradigm, you disappear from the old paradigm. Like if you think about monks, for instance, they disappear from mundane reality. They're not a part of it anymore. They're as dead, like dead to the world. Okay, so then we have, we kind of accelerate a bit because we want to finish. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you? And because, of course, they could never hear him. They talk to him, but they don't listen to his answers. Not really. Yeah. And of course, we repeat it again. We build this tension. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? We feel his distance.
I feel it even now. When just I see the last, like, can you just, and no, nothing, you know, emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
And here, then he appears, like, but where he is.
Yeah, so it's like a communication breakdown, like Led Zeppelin. And it's very, very beautiful connection or transition. Can you hear am I? From them, the power, the voice, seamlessly goes to Major Tom. From can you hear to here I am. Now he is speaking, and we, the listeners, we can kind of accompany him for a short while. Yeah? Here am I, floating around my tin can, far above the moon. So he's still alive, he's outside again. So if we compare it, the first time he says, here I am sitting in a tin can, now here am I floating around my tin can, and far above the world, far above the moon. So floating around my tin can, around. So he becomes a celestial body. Not just a body in space, but a celestial body orbiting his tin can. Same as the moon orbits the Earth, Earth orbits the Sun orbits galactic center, all the things. So now he's a part of this paradigm, this reality, even if he orbits his tin can, but still, that's an achievement. And far above the world, now far above the moon, which means he's moving away from Earth. Now we know the direction, we know he's not coming back to Earth, he's moving away into infinity. And then again, planet Earth is blue, there's nothing I can do. Does it feel the same or different from the first time?
Well, if we think about the word still, and he's like, maybe he's still, yeah, and so he has accepted it, and it's like, he's nirvana, and he's really like a pure, yeah, I know, stillness, I might say it like this, but otherwise, like, nothing I can do, so it's not maybe because of, like, my paradigm. It's very difficult just, you know, for me just to accept it. Like, even if I just, like, pretending like I'm a reader, nothing I can do. So actually, them, just planet Earth and the moon and the gods, so they really belong to different reality, and now he's part of it. And so, yeah, something has to be changed then, I don't know. It takes time, and usually, what can I do? Wait. Maybe, but there is nothing I can do. It's time for him, time to wait and to see.
Yeah, so maybe the first time is more like he's helpless. He doesn't know how to return. He doesn't know what to do. There's nothing he can do. But now it's more detached, like, oh, there's nothing I can do. And it's not like I don't care, but I'm detached. I know that God's love will guide everyone. Maybe. And then we have another instrumental outro. As we start with the instrumental intro, now we have instrumental outro, which again is very nice and spacey and cosmic. And maybe it's like he's moving into the unlanguageable. So he moves further and further away from us, and we, the listeners, we can't accompany him anymore. We can come with him to some certain point, but then we just can't. We can't watch it because we don't have language for it. We don't have mind for it. To travel further, we need to do the same as he did. So this music is like the unlanguageable part, and then it fades away because he's moving away from us, and now we can't see him anymore. Wow, that was good. Any more comments?
Actually not. So it's quite interesting, and just like maybe not puzzling, that takes some time just to digest, because
It's a very big,
so
very
not,
interesting, very deep.
Not interpret it like directly, but still thinking of it from possible perspectives. That's the thing that you're teaching me, right? Okay, we'll do. That's why not yes, yes.
Okay, I shall not hold you any longer since you're in a hurry.